Hello and welcome. My name is Gail Perry and I'm with the Balanced Scorecard Institute. I'd like to take the next few minutes to share with you something that created great excitement and curiosity at the recent Summit on Government Performance and Innovation in Louisville, Kentucky. Several of the panelists and some of the speakers mentioned a framework that they were using to improve performance, and the framework is called the Balanced Scorecard. And subsequently, we ended up doing a brief presentation during breaks and things for various people. So this is what we showed the other participants at the conference. As the panelists and the speakers were presenting, they were talking about some of the top issues and priorities and concerns of local government leaders. And you may be familiar with many of these. And sometimes these concerns and issues and priorities don't seem to be connected. It just seems like multiple things that you're having to juggle and balance. For example, being able to communicate clearly. What is our vision? What is our mission? What is our strategy? Where are we going? How do we plan to get there? And how can I communicate this in a way that everyone, my staff, my stakeholders, my citizens will understand? And the topic of the conference was innovation. So how do we encourage innovation in the government? How do we leverage innovation? How do we be more innovative? How do we measure innovation? And a lot of those questions abounded. What about alignment? Making sure that the work that people do on a day-to-day basis is in alignment with where you want to go as an organization. People come in and they sit down and they do their jobs as prescribed, but in the course of the day, they make multiple independent decisions. So how do you assure that those decisions that they make are in alignment with where you all want to go collectively? And prioritization is a hot topic. How do you choose where to put your money, where to put your time, your resources? Program effectiveness and efficiency. How can you make the programs more effective in order to achieve the results that you're trying to achieve as a government organization, and how can you make them more efficient so you're doing basically more with less? And how do you keep a focus on strategy and results? How do you ensure that people always keep the eye on the results you're trying to achieve and don't get lost down in the daily activity and tasks and whirlwinds? And what about transparency? How can you be more and more transparent so that citizens understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, why you're investing in certain areas, why you're spending time in certain areas, why you're executing certain programs, etc. How can you be more transparent in a way that people will understand? And what about performance measures? How can you have more meaningful performance measures that really show whether you're achieving outcomes versus just measuring things like, did we complete a task, or is this program, being executed in a timely manner? And how do you link it all together? How do you link the big picture mission where we're trying to go with the strategy to get there, with the things you're budgeting for, and with the different programs that you have in place, and with the activities that people are doing? How do you tie all of this together? So the framework that was being discussed is called Balanced Scorecard, and what it does is it helps you focus on results by connecting all these seemingly disparate things in a logical, kind of elegantly simple, holistic system. So let me explain real quick this graphic that you're looking at. This is one of the pieces of a Balanced Scorecard framework. It's one of the major pieces. And so at the top here we have the vision, where the organization is trying to go in the future, and its mission, basically its purpose. Now, the next level down in this framework is strategic themes. So there's a process that you go through, is all sorts of analysis and decision making to figure out, okay, if we're going to achieve that vision and fulfill this mission, what are the 3 or 4 areas that we're going to have to really focus on at a high level? And then we focus on these. What are the results that we're trying to achieve? How will we know success when we see it? So it's breaking down that high-level mission vision into slightly lower altitude areas that are a little bit more easy to communicate and to really get you focused on where you need to excel. These are called pillars of excellence sometimes. Now down here on the left side of the graphic is what's called a strategy map, and this is where the Balanced Scorecard framework ties into all of this. So first let me explain the perspectives. There are 4 perspectives. These are lenses through which you can view organizational performance. The bottom two are called drivers, and the top two are results perspectives. So in organizational capacity, these are your resources, the things that you have in terms of technology, people, their skills, infrastructure, your culture, governance, policies, all those things that you use. In internal process, this is where you create value for your constituents and your stakeholders. This is where your programs and your processes and your services reside. These lead to the results, both financial stewardship, that you're being good stewards of the resources that you have, and ultimately satisfying your constituents and stakeholders. And these things in circles are called objectives, and they're linked together in cause and effect fashion. And through a very disciplined process, these objectives were derived based on the strategic results that this organization needs to achieve. So how you read a strategy map is you can start at the bottom or the top. So in this one, let's start at the bottom. And the question is why when we're reading upward. Why do we want to increase staff quality? So we can improve efficiency and effectiveness. Why are we improving efficiency and effectiveness? So we can improve delivery of services, so we can reduce waste, and so we can improve land and asset management. Why are we improving delivery of service? So we can improve program outcomes. And why are we doing that? So we can increase quality of life. You can also read it the other direction. How are we going to increase quality of life? By improving awareness and accessibility, and by improving program outcomes. How are we going to improve program outcomes? By improving delivery of services, reducing waste, and improving land and asset management, etc. You get the idea. So the strategy map is a way to communicate clearly the strategy of the organization to achieve the 3 or 4 results that it's seeking in the focus areas called themes that are going to lead you to achieve your mission and fulfill your vision. It's all connected. Now over here on the right are measures and targets. So for each objective, there are outcome measures, results. How do we know we're actually achieving results and moving the needle on these high-level strategic objectives? And then there's targets that we set periodically. And there's our goals. What are we trying to achieve in each reporting period? And on the far right is what's called initiatives. This is where your programs and your projects reside. What are we actually doing that's going to move the needle on those measures? And then everything's connected all the way up. So you can say the reason we're funding a customer service training program is to move the needle on a particular measure that's going to help with our staff quality, which is going to therefore drive this and that. So it's all connected. So if we go back to those top concerns, issues, and priorities, if you look at transparency, a framework like this helps you very clearly and pretty simply explain what you're doing, why you're doing it, how it's all connected. And as you can see, it does link mission with strategy over here with programs and budgets, and then I'll show you on the next slide how we link it all the way down to individuals. It helps you communicate clearly what your mission, vision, and your strategy for getting there is. It helps you stay focused on strategy and results. The strategy map is something that seems to resonate with people at all levels. They can see themselves fitting in, and they understand that their particular function fits in a certain one of these objectives often, and they understand how it's all linked together and the results you're ultimately trying to achieve. You know, where does innovation fit? Innovation is often found in the process perspective. It's one way you're trying to improve those processes. Efficiency and program effectiveness, you know, measuring the results of the programs. You know, you can measure the programs themselves, of course, and that's also part of the framework, but then you're also looking at the cumulative effect of those programs. Are you achieving the overall results that you're trying to achieve collectively? And in the initiatives column, if you will, that's where you start to prioritize. You can look at your performance against the objectives and say, you know, this is where we need to put our resources. This is the most important thing strategically. And you can explain to constituents and to staff, this is why we're focusing on these particular items right now. And then the scorecards and the strategy maps are cascaded down through the organization. So that's where you get the link to the people and that alignment between departments and all the way down to the day-to-day work people do. So you cascade the what we call Tier 1, the organizational-wide strategy, down to departments and units, and that can be cascaded all the way down to individual performance plans. So each individual has a line of sight. They understand exactly what they need to do to move the needle all the way back up to vision. Everything is connected from individual all the way back up to vision in a very logical, clear, easy to understand way. So, in conclusion, what is a balanced scorecard? It's an integrated strategic planning and performance management framework. It's a holistic system. It's both planning and execution. There's the 4 main benefits of a system like this. It helps you communicate clearly your mission and your strategy. It helps align day-to-day work all the way up to vision and high-level strategy. It gives a framework for prioritization, prioritizing your programs, your services, your products, your resources. And there are strategic performance measures built in to help you know if you're actually achieving results. And it does produce results. I've put a few examples in here for you. The first one is Mecklenburg County, North Carolina. They were an early adopter of Balanced Scorecard, and so their implementation is quite mature, and they've actually connected the dots all the way through to their performance-based budgeting system. So they have an amazing amount of transparency, both in how they report out results every year to the public based on their Balanced Scorecard, the objectives they're trying to achieve, those themes, and the results they're trying to achieve on those themes. But they also link all of their different programs and services to the various themes and results, so that when it comes time to allocate resources, they can look at the results they're achieving, and if there's some areas underperforming, they can look at which programs drive performance on those areas, look at the performance on those programs, and very clearly determine where their resources need to go and explain to the public and their constituents and others why they're putting the resources where they are. They've received, of course, numerous achievement awards for the performance that they've achieved over the years, awards from NACO, ICMA, and others. The second one I want to mention is our hosts from the conference, Louisville Metro Government. The reason we're at the conference is we actually work with Louisville Metro Government, and most recently we've been training their strategic planning liaisons within each department so that each one can support the Balanced Scorecard within their respective departments, thereby strengthening the stability across the entire enterprise. And the third one I've put on here is not a municipal government, it's a federal government, but a lot of people find this one interesting. We worked with the Federal Ministry of Health over in Ethiopia, and this work was funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Now, if you've been keeping up with the news over the years, if you think of great health, Ethiopia probably isn't the first country that comes to mind. In fact, probably just the opposite. So when we went to work in Ethiopia, we were looking to improve results across the entire health sector, from the federal agency level all the way down to the field hospitals in the bush and the various practice areas out in the communities. Within a year of implementing, they started achieving some of the results you see here. The one that particularly caught my eye was they've reduced inpatient mortality rate almost 2 percentage points, and they did that fairly quickly. So they're continuing to move the needle on all sorts of results. But that's kind of an interesting story. So we have lots and lots of these examples of how this framework has helped organizations achieve measurable breakthrough results. So you were at the conference, or looking at, you've been keeping up with your municipal government field, so do these things resonate with you? Are you struggling with one or more of these? And hopefully now you realize that they're not isolated issues and concerns and priorities. They're actually all connected, or can be connected, in terms of solution. If you'd like to learn more, we would be happy to show you more in more detail and talk to you about the dynamics of your own organization if you'd like to schedule an executive webinar. So who are we? Who is this voice that's been coming to you on this recording? We are the Balanced Scorecard Institute. We teach and consult around the world, showing people and helping them to build a strategic management framework based on the balanced scorecard, the exact thing that I've been showing you. And we do so using a proprietary process. It's called the 9 Steps to Success, and this wheel here is our branded logo. And it's a disciplined process that's easy to follow and can very quickly get your organization up and running on the balanced scorecard. We've also published a book called The Institute Way, so if you're the type that likes to research on your own and read quietly and learn about things, I encourage you to pick up a copy of this book. You can get it from the website listed here, or just go out to Amazon.com. It's available in ebook and hard copy. So we've been doing this for a long time, about 15 years. We've trained over 5,000 people in this process, and we've consulted with 200 of companies in various sectors around the globe. So the voice coming to you, again, my name is Gail Perry, and there's how to reach me directly. Juliette Bastien was the person you saw at the Louisville conference. She was our consultant who works with Louisville, and there's her direct contact info. Or just reach us at our main number or on our website here. And like I said, if you'd like to schedule an executive webinar where we can talk more in depth and show you more, reach out to us. So no matter what, we wish you success on whatever results you're trying to achieve in your organization, and we very much hope that this has been useful and informative. So please let us know if you found it helpful. Drop us a note, and thank you.